Right, how's that? Is that fixed it? Can you tell? Okay, so is this it working now? Let's stop messing about with the controls, and I'll give you a minute and we'll see if that's it working now. Hopefully that is it working now. How are we doing? It's fine. Oh, fantastic. Yay, I've done it. Yeah, it's all, again, it's new equipment. I've now got 3 cameras. The one that I'm on at the moment is my action cam, so that's why it kind of looks a little like a fishbowl. It's very wide angled. I've got my board here with my paper ready. I have a camera on the palette, so you'll be able to see me with the palette. You will see it from a distance, and you will also see it close up. So it's very nice to be here. Thank you, Mona. And how are you? How are you? And how are you, Beth? Because you guys are here at the moment. So how are you? What's new with you? Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I am just going to pop it onto this one. Way! So hopefully that's in focus. And I've got audio there, so you should be able to hear me on this one. Right, we'll try that. And there. You should be able to see okay there. So we've got the palette cam. We've got this one here, which is obviously the distance. And we've got the closer up. So I've had this configured in quite a few different ways. So hopefully, this configuration, there we go. Now, that's better. Because it's a little disconcerting. I find it really difficult to concentrate on seeing the chat if I'm not actually in sync on the screen. So I've just changed the screen around a little bit just to make it a little bit easier for me. I'm so sorry for all this delay. It really has been a long time since I've been live. Hello, Laura. Hello. So everything's okay. You lost weight. You look skinnier than ever. Oh, thank you. I haven't, but thank you. It's obviously just the what I'm wearing, perhaps, or maybe it's because you haven't seen me for ages. But no, I haven't lost. I don't think I've lost weight anyway. It doesn't feel like it in my clothes. So, yeah, I thought I would come on today and just catch up with you guys and try out my new equipment. Well, I say new equipment, it's only some of it's new. I've got a capture card for my for this one here, for the close-up. So my DSLR, I've got a capture card. I've finally figured out how to take off the squares that were on it. So I've finally figured out how to do that. Wasn't in the settings at all. It actually turns out that I have to turn off autofocus on my lens to stop getting up the face detection lines. Hello Ian, hello, how are you? Welcome. So lots of things figured out. I have my webcam here. So yeah, I've got 3 cameras on the go, and so hopefully you guys will be able to see everything that's going on and enjoy what's going on. Now, I toyed with the idea of having the close-up as the big photo, you know, the big picture at the back, and then have the distance in the little little camera positions over the top, overlaid on the background. So tell me if you think this is a particularly good way to view it. Your head is a bit chopped off. No, I'm not meant to be here. I'm not actually meant to be here. I've literally just been on the cam, and I've not got the camera round as much as I had thought it was. I'm not actually meant to be in shot. So yeah, this is that's why my head's chopped off, because I'm not actually meant to be in shot. You're not really meant to see me. But I could go back to this one so that you can actually see me properly. But then I can put it back to the other one when we're actually painting, because I'm sure you guys don't really need to see me when I'm actually painting. So what's on the agenda today? Well, oh, hello Madonna, hiya, welcome, thank you for joining me, really lovely to see you. So yes, I don't really have anything on the agenda other than what perhaps you guys might want to see. I have a bit of an idea. I thought maybe again, I've seen a lot of oh, I wish I could paint a little bit looser comments on various different social media avenues. So I'm thinking that maybe, just straightening that up, maybe I could go over a few hints and tips on how to loosen up your painting. Does that sound like a plan? Oh, thank you, Ian. Mona says, okay, we don't really see you. She's not really there. Brilliant, fantastic. So how does that sound? I'm thinking really just painting and kind of maybe looking at some abstracty work, kind of talk a little bit about the way that the colours mingle, and just look at being able to be a bit looser in our work. So I have my trusty, in fact, hold on, let's go back to pick and pick, shall we? There we go. So I have my trusty, oh yep, there we go, I can see it now. I couldn't see it. I couldn't see it for something in my way, but I can see it now. So I have my Art Sherpa cat's tongue. This is the bigger one. This is a size 8. And I might grab the size 4 as well. So I've got the 2 here. I've got a few other brushes as well. This is oh, it's saying Royal, so I wonder if that's oh, is it Royal and Nickel or something? But it's a cheap and cheerful. It's just a flat brush. So we'll go with that. I'm thinking, like we did before, I'm just going to grab a whole heap of different colours and just put them out. Right, I'm going to use a cloth to, there we go. I'm using the phthalo turquoise and I'm going to use the processed magenta, and the reason I really enjoy using these, Mona's saying that she sees all the pretty tag dolls. Yes, thank you. So yeah, the reason I like using the phthalo turquoise and the processed magenta is I discovered that when you mix them together, they make an absolutely fantastic purple. So don't be afraid to just mix colours together that you just don't know what they do. Find out what they do. Don't just take it for granted that that's what they do. Okay, so putting out some titanium white. I'm using my student paints because I've been using a lot of the student paints to do the acrylic April. And today, obviously, it's still acrylic April, so today's painting is my day 25 acrylic painting. So, right, I'm going to put out some sap green. I don't even know if I'm going to use it or not, but I'm going to put it out nonetheless. I possibly will. I'm going to put out, I think this one's Naples yellow. And I'm going to put out the cadmium yellow hue. I'm also going to pop out some of this Hobbycraft, and it's light green. So there we go, that's that. Right, now I'm just going to mist my paper because I haven't actually put gesso down, so right. Oh, hello, Dina. Hello. Welcome. Thank you. Oh dear, I haven't read what happened. I'm so sorry that something not so good has happened, Dina. I hope you're okay. Right. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off just getting some colour down on the page. So maybe do a little bit of that. I'm just starting off in the corner, just felt like it. And I'm literally just all directions with the brush. And I think that's one of the main sort of tips, really. Tip number one, shall we call it? Dina's saying that she's getting better slowly but surely. I'm so glad that you're getting better. Right, I'm going to try some of this Naples yellow and see what happens when I mix it. And I think I might just add some white as well. See what happens. Now, as I said, we're just going to play with paint on the paper. That's all we're going to do. We're just going to play with the paint. So tip number 1 for being a bit looser is using different strokes, different directions, short strokes. Try not to, I mean, blend by all means, but try not to blend it completely in together. Oh my goodness, that sounds awful, Dina. Oh, thank you, Dina. Dina's saying it's looking beautiful. Thank you. But no wonder everybody's worried about you. So tip number 2 is, if you've watched me for any length of time, you will know, hold your brush as far back as you can so you don't have too much control over it. And again, you know, just play about with it. Don't be afraid. Now let's see what this is doing. I'm quite liking that actually. Quite liking that. Now, let's experiment with this pink. So we're going to get mud down there. But it's actually quite a pretty mud. It's a pinky brown. Quite like that. And as I said before, when I put these together, they actually make a purple. So that's kind of cool. So you can see it's just going from one colour to another, and I'm having a load of fun. those two colours really make a beautiful green together. Yes, they do. They do indeed. There's some really, really nice colours here. That makes a fantastic lime green there. And isn't that interesting how that kind of, putting in the titanium white there kind of greyed that up a little bit? Isn't that interesting? Huh. And that's the thing about titanium white, is that although for the most part, when you add it to colours, it will actually lighten them. However, sometimes it'll actually grey them. Because if the colours are not necessarily primary colours together making a colour, then when you add the white to it, it's going to grey it a little bit. So that's useful to know when you want to, you know, put things in the background and bring things forward. Oh, hello, Chrissy. How are you doing? No, I didn't really say anything. I just decided last minute, Chrissy, to go live. I saw that you're on later on this evening, and I decided that I was going to go live today. And today I'm just looking at how colours really just kind of blend together or don't blend together, how they mix, what's the best way to really get to grips with working loose. And I think this particular exercise is a very good exercise for people that really want to learn how to be much more loose and not so precious with blending and really looking at brush strokes. And Dina's saying, I love these organic shapes you're creating. Thank you, Dina. Thank you. I'm really quite liking how this is going. It's going kind of sort of light into the dark. And I'm not even washing the brush either in between times, because sometimes mixing it is actually giving a really cool effect. So that's looking pretty organic. Oops. In fact, I think I might just pull some of that pink down into here. Like so. So it's not actually anything yet. Yeah, what, Chrissy? The atmosphere. Okay, I'm going to get you to clarify that one, Chrissy, because that's I'm not saying that out loud. Oh dear. Now, today's prompt for Acrylic April is magical doors. And I think from an imaginative standpoint, your imagination is essentially a magical door, or has a magical door, because when you open it, magical things happen. And so that's why I thought today would be a really good day to kind of think about abstract and looking at it from that perspective. And I'm actually really quite liking this. And I think what we can sometimes do when we like things is we get to that point where we're like, oh, don't want to touch it anymore, because if I touch it anymore, it's just not going to work. And so we sometimes will just not do something because we're afraid to ruin it. And I think that's where sort of tip number, I think we're on 3 now. Tip number 3 is sometimes we just need to go with it. Just stop messing about and just feel the fear and do it anyway. Because when we're all, when we're doing more details and, we want it to look good. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with wanting something to look good. But when we allow it to get in our way of what we actually want to do, which is to paint, then we can sometimes, and I see this is starting to look a little bit like a bush, with some flowers and things. So that's kind of cool. This was not what I had in mind, by the way. I had nothing in mind. But you can see how, you know, it can just start evolving. Mona says, can take a photo of one stage. If you're not sure, at least you will still have that photo. Yes, absolutely. But then Mona, you're always commenting that you feel that you're not able to paint loosely. Oh, hello, Mark. Hello. How are you? How are you doing with your acrylic April? I have been seeing some wonderful work coming from you. So I guess I'm just wondering, what is it that stops you, Mona, from painting loosely? What is it specifically? Because if you go in like what I'm doing with just very short strokes, with a variety of different colours, then that's really lending itself to being loose. So what is it, do you think, that stops you from, what makes you mess about with it more, do you think? Hello, Joe. Yeah, I didn't know I was going to go on today either, Joe. It has been so long, and I've been off my work unwell. I was off for probably about 3 weeks or so, and then I've been back at work, and I keep working a Friday, so really difficult to get going live at my usual time. And I've been getting some new equipment, so thought it might be advantageous and time for me to go live, because it's been so long and I wasn't sure I was going to remember what to do. Okay, and what's wrong with it being one blob? Oh no, the blob, yeah. I mean, when you're working really small, that's probably the best time to work with big brushes anyway. You just don't use too big a brush. But certainly a bigger brush than you would normally use. So whether it's bigger or smaller. Jo says that she's running out of steam with this acrylic April. Yeah, I could see why that would happen. I would definitely see why that could happen. Because it's not an easy thing to keep up with. I would show you some of the paintings that I've been doing, but I have some good news. A lot of the paintings that I've been doing are actually for sale in the local art gallery store. Right. So let's see. Let's have a read of some of these. So Jo's saying that she's grateful she drew out her ideas first. Well, see, Chrissy, I agree with you to an extent. Big brush, big area, but when you want to work a little bit more loose, you still have to go bigger to smaller. They're smaller brushes, like this one here, this one, isn't going to necessarily do a small area, but if you're doing a small area and this is the size of brush that you need to use, right, so it's that small, what you would do is, say, maybe look at that size. So it's still not as big as this one, but it's still bigger. And it really comes down to what it is that you're actually wanting to paint. And it's about looking at what you can do to loosen your painting up. And I think for you, Mona, it might be a good idea to not paint anything in particular, but do something like this. Look at it as a background, and look at the ways in which you can do your brush strokes and not blend your brush strokes in. Does that make sense? And thank you, Dina. Got to get ready for fly out for a long 4-day weekend. Enjoying everyone's painting a lot over the last month too. Bye, all, have a great day. I'll have a fantastic trip. I really hope that you have a safe journey. So enjoy yourself, Mark. I look forward to hearing all about it when you get back. Yes, you can paint loose with a small brush, but what I would recommend is use a slightly bigger brush than you would do if you were doing the detail, and that prevents you from doing detail. The other thing that I would actually suggest in the first instance is actually pick a subject that isn't detailed. Pick a subject that is not detailed at all or whatsoever. So say an apple or a pear or maybe look at doing abstract face, much more abstract faces, so faceless faces, these kinds of things. So it's interesting that even now, I'm letting this dry just purely because I'm not wanting to kind of mix the colours that are already on the painting. I'm actually leaving it to dry a little bit before I go into the next stage, because I'm actually thinking about putting in an abstract-y figure. Mark saying, bye, all you great creators, loving all your paintings. Oh, fantastic. Oh, thank you, Mona. You really enjoyed the apple that I painted. Thank you. Very much appreciated. So Dina is saying another trick to painting loosely is to paint in a dimly lit room. Yes, that's another one. And one that I also have tried myself, but I would not recommend it. And that is to paint without your glasses on. If you need glasses to see, paint without your glasses on. Oh dear, that certainly worked for me. So Ian is saying, think of a painting in 3 parts. One universal, 1 or 2 painting that covers the whole page. 2 something more colours and less space, or cover perhaps more colours and less space. 3 micro bits of painting detail in limited area. Yeah, Chrissy, exactly. Or take your glasses off. Oh dear. Yeah, I mean, it's really up to you how you perceive your painting. But like I've actually got a painting, and again, it's one of the ones that's actually in the shop for sale. It's a balloon. And so things like balloons are really very, again, good for helping you to loosen up your painting. So instead of thinking about things of, blending nicely and graduating the colours, just don't be afraid to make a mess and, get to that point. If you get to the point where you want to throw it out, please don't throw it out immediately. Go that little bit further, because you can get to an ugly stage even when you're painting loosely. And so, allow yourself to take a step back and don't do anything. Don't throw it out. Just leave it. Go back to it. Add something else. I could just simply, put in some other shapes here if I really wanted to. I've seen people, particularly in oils, I've seen people do really, really detailed things and then take, I forget the name of them now, it'll come back to me, but a wedge, a rubber wedge, and just literally go and put it across, and then just completely obliterate what they've done, but not obliterate it. So there's that movement in the face, but there's still some details left where they haven't scraped over it. So they abstract the face. But to paint loosely in the first instance, you really are, the big things that you need to be doing and thinking about doing are holding your brush further back, not blending things, and short strokes, changing direction, scrumbling, just doing lots of different things. There is absolutely nothing wrong with your painting, Mona. Nothing wrong whatsoever. I really enjoy your paintings. I like your colours, and you know, I like the details in your paintings. The only reason I'm mentioning this today is because it's something that you've really expressed that you want to do, is to paint more loosely. And I think this as an exercise would be particularly good for you to try to paint more loosely. So forget painting a face loosely, just do this type of background. Does that make sense? Is that helping at all? I'm hoping that people who are watching this live, and if you're watching on the replay, you're absolutely stars, and I think it's amazing that you are watching on the replay, so thank you. I just wanted to catch up with everybody today, really. There's no specific lesson here. It was just simply painting. So Joe's saying, I understand that. Understand, Ian, but followed the word prompts, and I need. Okay, so I've missed something. What have I missed? Let me see. Okay. Good tip is don't have a drawing or outline and use expressive brushstrokes. Well, yes and no, Ian. I think sometimes having that outline can help us to at least contain where our brushstrokes actually are. It really depends on the kind of look that you're going for. And sometimes actually having that outline isn't necessarily a bad thing. Don't be afraid to paint over the lines though, but there is nothing wrong with having that outline and painting loosely within it. So Ian says, I have to say acrylic paint does not lend itself to loose expressions as much as watercolours. Obviously that's within your experience, Ian, and I'm sure that's a lot of people's experience. But I think that acrylic paint is just as good for loose painting as watercolours. And the beauty with acrylic painting, when you're painting loose and you have mixed colours you don't want to mix on the page and you've ended up with mud, let it dry, paint over it. Can't do that with watercolours. So I think it really is I think it really is the personal experience of the painter and the kind of expressions that painters like to do, the kind of techniques that people like to do. So for watercolour, you can get like really nice spreads of the paint and mixing of the paint from that respect. But with acrylic paint, you know, there's all sorts of different things that you can do with it. So Chris is saying, I've done loads of loose paintings on my channel, Ian. I know what you mean though. Yeah, so I think everybody's experience is valid, and I think Ian's experience is valid, and clearly, Ian, you much prefer watercolour. In fact, I actually saw that influence in your, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but I actually saw that influence in your acrylic, put my teeth back in, your acrylic paintings that I have actually seen in the on social media and things, you can see the influence of watercolour in the way that you paint with acrylics. And I do wonder if maybe that is perhaps a contributing factor to why you feel that acrylic painting doesn't necessarily lend itself to loose expressive painting. And again, you know, if that's your opinion and that's your experience, then that's also equally as valid, and I would never ever ever say that you're wrong. You're certainly right within your experience, and perhaps other people might think that acrylic painting is easier than watercolours. Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right, Chrissy. We can all voice our opinion, and it's good to know other artists think. Absolutely. And I really appreciate you coming and having this discussion with me, Ian and Chrissy and Mona and everybody else that's on the channel. So now that the paint is a little bit more dry, I'm kind of thinking, okay, so what do I want to do with this? I've got the background, so now what? And this is where it gets interesting, I think. Mona is saying that she finds acrylics are much easier than watercolours, and she does both. Which one do I find easier? I don't find either easier. I have to say, I don't think I find any easier. Dina is agreeing with Chrissy. So yes, I think every artist, their opinion is valid, and definitely. Mona saying, oh, I would have stopped there. I think your painting is pretty now. Yes, you see, this is the thing. It is, but I am literally just seeing this as a background. And I really want to add something else, and I'm not really 100% sure exactly what it is that I want to add. I have a few ideas, and I think I'm going to go with the smaller Art Sherpa cat's tongue, and I'm thinking I'm going to mix up that nice purple and I'm going to go for it. Are you ready? Dina says, this has been wonderful. I love your live streams. I have worn out with sitting up. Oh, Dina, I'm so sorry that you're feeling tired now, but thank you so much for joining me. You take care of yourself. Lovely that you've been here. And lots of sparkles to speedy recovery. So healing sparkles to you, Dina. Chrissy is saying, exactly, we all have our favourite medium and our own freedom to paint how we want. If learning or experience, we just keep learning. Yes, absolutely. Life is learning. Learning is a lifelong right. Okay, I'm just going to go for it. So there. There we go. As you can see, I've just gone for it. So, there's one person. Does this person have a buddy, do you think? I wonder. I don't know. Oh, hello, Susan. Hi there, welcome. Okay, so Ian is saying, I'm not saying you cannot, but it tends to make you more fiddly detailed in the heavy body acrylic paint. Okay. Do you think maybe that is more your experience rather than my experience? Because I'm certainly not being fiddly and detailed here, and I'm using acrylic paints right now. Just thought I'd add this colour into this here as well. Right. Okay. Susan is saying, love to see how you create depth. Well, welcome, and I hope that you can see how that is actually happening. The biggest reason that I've got depth on my page is because I've started building up the layers. So I hope you're having a good day, Susan. Did you say that you were from South Africa? Right. I'm kind of... right, I'm going to go for it. So... there we go. That's There we go. Make sure that the figures are grounded. There. Oh, still had plenty of white on that. Maybe not quite what I had in mind. Okay. There we are. I think that could be developed a little bit more. Oh, so Susan's in Perthshire. Or like Perthshire. Huh. Okay. No problem, Susan. Thank you for coming. Ian is saying that he painted in oil for 15 years and Toy can paint very loose with, oh, so you can paint very loose with oils. It may be the drying time, as I never use any of the additives that acrylics use. Well, all I'm using today, Ian, is water. I think it's one of those things that the more you use acrylics, the more you get to know how they function and can potentially use them in whatever way you can. I mean, let's face it, at the end of the day, not every medium is necessarily for every artist. Not every artist like using every single medium. It is what it is. Just building up the layers in the bushes now. And I'm literally just scrambling on. I'm thinking that maybe this person here is actually holding that person's hand. Ah, right, so I've gone really, really quiet because I'm concentrating. And you wouldn't think that I'd be concentrating on this, would you? But I am. There. That kind of looks like they're facing each other, doesn't it? I'm thinking maybe I will just scumble a little bit more green in the background. Some of the turquoise as well, perhaps. Just to give that sense of that they're walking into the distance. And that is not just there we go. That's looking a little bit better, isn't it? Sorry guys, I haven't been ignoring you. Well, actually technically I guess I have because I haven't been reading your messages. I haven't been deliberately ignoring you, is probably more to the point. There we go. I'm quite liking that actually. Right, that's maybe a bit too light. There we go. I'm quite liking that actually. Really quite liking that indeed. Could probably have done with them being a little bit taller. But otherwise I'm quite liking this. Susan's asking, do you make your own frames? No, I don't. So Ian is saying that's why mixed media paintings are so good, because they have the best elements of a lot of different tools. Yes, yes, I do enjoy mixed media. I did actually toy with the idea of doing this as a mixed media piece, but I decided just to go with acrylics in the end. And to be honest, I'm actually thinking that maybe I am going to just leave this as is. Just maybe adding just a little bit more depth, because I think it was starting to look a little bit flat up the top here. So I'm just adding just a little bit more. Just because I can. There we go. And I think maybe just a little more of that blue. There we are. And that's it. I think I'm going to call it done. So oh, wrong one. There we go. Let me... Okay. There you have it. There is the there we go. Just turn it around a bit. There we have it. That's my very loose, very expressionistic magic door into my imagination. So this is day 25 of the acrylic April. Ian's saying I'm doing a lot more colour pencil work in my painting when I'm testing things, but need to get a pro set of colour pencils before I do any quality work. Oh, cool. So what kind of pencils are you looking at? I would wholeheartedly recommend polychromos. Without a doubt, I would recommend them over the Prismacolors. I have both and I much prefer the polychromos, and the reason I prefer the polychromos is because you can get much more layering with the oil-based pencils than you can with the Prismacolors, because they're wax-based. You obviously there's not an infinite amount of layers that you can get with polychromos. There's always going to be the amount that you can't go above, but you will definitely get much more layering with polychromos. And the other thing about polychromos is that they will actually work better over acrylic paint, for example. I mean, obviously, it's going to be much more difficult to see colours over certain colours of acrylic paint, but you're going to be much more able to use polychromos over the top of acrylic paint. So there, that's an interesting piece of information. Hello, Michael. Hello. How are you? So that's us. that's the painting done. Is there any questions? Would anybody like to have this as a real-time lesson, do you think? Or do you think, if, like Mona, if you wanted to do this painting, do you think you could paint it just watching the live? Or would you like me to be a little bit more in teacher mode? Ian's saying that he's got one or two of the polys in there. Good. Yes. Thank you, Mona. Thank you. I'm quite pleased with it, I have to say. It's yeah, I like this one. It's not what I thought it would turn out to be. I actually expected my figures to sort of start up here, but because I was doing all this, that kind of really changed my idea for this painting. I had no plans, I just had a vague idea of what I was thinking about, and it wasn't this. Mona says I could watch the live but would welcome a tutorial. Okay, well that sounds like a plan to me then. Tanya made me buy them. Yeah, of course I made you. I came all the way over to you where you are in Sweden, and I got your arm up like that and I was like, buy them, buy them. Yep. Oh dear. So Susan says, I agree with you, would value a tutorial. Okay. Right. I'm actually I have an idea for a painting loose tutorial. It's very similar in style to this, probably not quite as much detail, although I say detail, I don't mean like detail as in fine detail, but there's much more elements to this, whereas the painting that I have in mind to do a tutorial for is much more basic, a lot more on an easier level for people to actually be able to hopefully paint loose. So yeah, I know that I've done let's paint a face and things, but I'm going to simplify it a little bit more. I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to simplify it a little bit more, and I'm going to do that as a tutorial. So I'm excited about that. Ian says, got to go get my video for tomorrow edited. We'll see you all later. Take care all. Well, thank you so much, Ian. It was very much appreciated that you came and hang out with us. So thanks. Take care, Ian, and I look forward to seeing your next video. Chrissy says, fab, I'm going to go and eat and get dinners. Might see some of you later. Yes, absolutely. I hopefully will be able to come and hang out with you at your live. It depends on what shift I'm on tomorrow, right enough, because I'm back to work tomorrow. So thank you, everybody. Thank you so very much for coming and hanging out with me. This video's probably been a little bit bitty, not quite up to my usual standard because it's been so long since I have done anything. But I really enjoyed hanging out with you guys. Madonna says, it sounds like fun. Thanks for the great live today. Your painting is beautiful. Thank you. Very much appreciated. So take care, everybody, and don't forget, look after your mental well-being, because nobody else can. So lots of healing sparkles to everybody who needs them, creative sparkles to everybody else who needs them, and happy painting. So take care, everybody. Bye for now.